Though famous for his works in sports, Dr. Don Rukare says there is more to him than the titles.
One of 5 children of Professor and Mrs. Rukare. We grew up in Makerere, went to then Norman Godino Primary School, went to Ntare School, the only school, but due to the war, yes, only school, due to the war I had to leave. That's the 1986 war. Joined college school to redo S4. We then came back for A-levels and went to law school, a bit of swimming there for the university. Joined LDC, then started working as a lawyer. Left there, went to the LDC to start that clinical legal education program. And then in between there, of course, went to study a bit. Then I joined sports. But all this time, Grace, I was involved in sports.
Rukare says he got into sports as early as 4 years old, but only took it serious at 6 years, representing Uganda in several competitions then.
But competitively, I started at the age of around 6, swimming at university, in the university pool road, university swimming pool. And then as I grew up now, into the late 70s, early 80s, I started swimming. I still have a number of national records at that pool. And into the 90s, I kind of retired from active swimming in the 90s. I think that's the first time I lost a race to Louis Kikonyoga. I remember that race very well. In swimming, coming from the Chikabada, meaning no training. I was going on past glory, and I almost For the sports people who are watching this, they understand. When you Amaguru Tega Kola, things were not moving, yeah? Because I could hardly move. I did 2 races and a relay, and the relay was what broke the camel's back, and I'll never forget that. My heart was racing. It wasn't being so about the loss. In sports, you learn how to lose. You lose and you come back. But I'm talking about the physical part of it, Grace, where your heart is racing until midnight. You have not recovered. The adrenaline, you can't walk because the adrenaline in your legs is still there. It's not drained out. So it took me about 12 hours to recover. Then I decided to accept that time has come to retire, but I then retired into masters. So now I swim masters.
So how did he join sports administration?
Actually, I joined sports administration by accident. I was not really planning to do this because we had tried with Madame Maggie Chigozi to get involved, but then we couldn't. But then that one Saturday morning, they called me, Jangu, come to Nugogo, there's a meeting. I found that a kind of general assembly, and then I was elected without even having stood for the position. But we stood, and that's how we started being in this journey of sports administration. So I did swimming from 2004. Then around 2011, I joined the Olympic Committee with Rogers Dungo. At that point, President Rogers Dungo of the UOC as an executive member. Then in 2012-13, I joined as Secretary General, I was elected, and now President of UOC. But also along the way, did some courses in sports administration, a master's in sports management and one in sports law. Became an arbitrator. Now I teach governance on sports law at Madrid. So it has been an interesting journey as a sports administrator, but it has evolved.
He sheds light on some of the achievements he's had thus far.
We turned around swimming, not I, we, as a team. We turned around swimming. We had almost 2 clubs. Now we have over 50 clubs and schools, more than that. We have an active calendar. We have coaches who are well trained. We have officials who are on the World Aquatics list, over 6. We have a lady going for the first time to Doha, Ronita. We congratulate her. So we even have ITOs who can participate. Of course, you see in sports we have national level, regional, international. So if you transcend these 3 levels, then you know that yes. So in terms of swimming, we've been able to populate at all those levels. At the UOC, we have now stabilized the UOC. It used to be a bit, you know where we have come from. We have a good working relationship with our members. We are on track with our strategic plan. We had the best Olympics ever in Tokyo. 5 medals, 25, big team, 25 for the first time. But overall, I think when I look back, things have moved.
Even with the achievements, this seasoned administrator says, we still have a long way to go.
That we need to work hard in sports, which I do every day, when I wake up every morning, is we need to put system. People say Ruzungu. They always accuse me, Ruzungu. Yeah. It's not, but you see, English is what makes things move. Call it English, may I call it systems, processes. We need to put systems in place. Team selection policy, the way you do things, the way you run meetings, the way you write reports, All these things help the organizations to grow. If you're to move from one stage to another, amateur to profession, you need these systems in place. Now, I said issues of facilities is a big thing in sport, and that's one thing we're advocating for, having facilities all over the country so everybody can get a chance, but also giving sports the visibility.
His advice to sports administrators:
we know we hold the dreams of these athletes in our hands as administrators. When I was a young athlete, my dreams were shattered because we never went anywhere. But it's really about saying, when we wake up, are we making sure that the dreams of these young athletes that we hold as we as administrators are not shattered? So I always tell my team, whether I was at swimming or at the Olympics or the Commonwealth, is that we should never ever do any decision we take should never disadvantage the athlete. I really believe in that. Should never disadvantage. If you've been an athlete and you've been on the field of play, you cannot make a decision that is going to disadvantage the athlete. We should aspire for higher. I always tell my team, don't compare yourself to the least common denominator. Compare yourself to the highest.
Rukare's recent top administration role, among others, is the vice presidency for the Commonwealth Games Federation, to which he was elected in late 2023. The ardent sportsman also represented Uganda in the Masters swimming competition last month in Nairobi, Kenya. Grace Joyce Kemigisa, UBC News.